What is fundamental paper education science? This will be my first video. This universe was made by the creator Molly. There is still no story or one confirmed by the creator. Before, this whole universe was like the original where teachers and students were fine. But in this universe, Miss Bloomy discovered an important advance for the education of students. That radiation was useful for the development of students, and improvement for the learning of poor students. It didn't matter if they were good or bad, this was a great opportunity to exploit the potential. Miss Bloomy told this to Miss Grace, who is the school principal. Miss Grace refused to do this even though Miss Bloomy was the chemistry and physics teacher. Pre-Ligos were very risky and using them on students was dangerous. Miss Bloomy ignored her and told her friends Miss Circle and Miss Fable. The outstanding students did not have to use the radiation only if they wanted to, but with the terrible students, instead of being killed, Miss Bloomy would give them radiation. This was mandatory for the terrible students. Obviously the radiation must be in controlled doses, and the teachers were in charge of administering something that improved the grades of the poor students. But the problem was that the students who were terrible became average students, so they started giving them more radiation, using a little more than what was necessary, improving their grades thanks to the radiation because it gave a more focused and concentrated performance to the students with the normal dose to standard, and with more doses better grades. This was noticed by the good students who did not use radiation at the time. They felt overwhelmed and frustrated since it would be a matter of time before they surpassed the best students. For this reason they asked to use radiation on them, making the class more competitive, being a perfect class with an A average. Because of the radiation, the students' sanity was declining, causing them to be willing to do anything to be the best student, and also using more radiation than recommended, a fatal mistake that all students would make. In Miss Bloomy's class she was giving out grades and gave her grade to Claire, where Claire took out A. Where Miss Bloomy told Claire, "You got A, you did a good job, Claire," but Claire interrupts her saying, "It's your fault." "What? It's all your fault. Go back to hell." On that day all the students became mutants because of the radiation, obtaining physical improvements, and some even obtained hypnotic powers. There was chaos and a massacre. Everyone fought each other. One of the important fights was Oliver against Abby, where Abby won. But at the moment when Abby was going to kill Oliver, Alice appeared and saved Oliver. Little of Alice's matter would fuse with Abby's body, but the radiation caused her body to be covered in this dark matter. Alice would confine everyone in one place, and they would adapt the classrooms into cells for each student to investigate and find a cure. Teachers were given roles that are: Miss Circle as a researcher, Miss Fable scientist and translator because some students lost the ability to communicate using other types of languages, Miss Bloomy the main researcher because she is the main culprit of all this problem, even having nightmares about what happened in the past, Miss Emily the IT technician, Mr. Demi scientist, Miss Grace lab manager, Miss Sasha being physician. Miss Sasha is the one who cares the most about the students by healing them, but in each of those visits she would end up injured and have a completely damaged body for helping her students that she wanted. After a few days Miss Fable found a way to communicate with the students, and Miss Sasha understood that some of them had memories of their normal lives. They could put some of them together and they would not hurt each other since in the past they were friends, leaving some in a group and others separated. Alice became a scientist to save Oliver and also a kind of emergency plan in case of any problem. After that some rules were made: what are protective glasses, mask, gloves, boots, protective equipment, and a gun. They made other rules to keep the staff safe, who do not go near Claire, Engel, Cubby, Riley, Zip, and Oliver. Do not look at Bubble and Robbie on the eve. Do not enter Alice's room, without reason. One day while Miss Sasha was doing her routine, she accidentally saw Bubble in the eyes. Miss Sasha, hypnotized, took the security card approaching Abby's cell. Miss Circle realized that Miss Sasha was hypnotized, but when she was going to stop her it was too late. Hypnotized Miss Sasha opens the door to Abby's cell, freeing him. Miss Circle started chasing Abby to catch him. Mr. Demi, who was resting, joined the chase. They left Abby trapped, and Abby decided to use her power. She would need help from all the staff or Alice's help. After a few days of the incident there was another incident. Mr. Demi, out of curiosity, observed one of the cells, but Robbie appeared, making Mr. Demi look him in the eyes, controlling him. Mr. Demi controlled. I arrived at a room where there was a caution button to open all the cells. Mr. Demi controlled presses the button. A fight broke out among all the students. The teachers had to stop this chaos while the fight continued. As a last option, Miss Grace shoots Alice in the room. Alice comes out of her room showing her powers. Even though the students were more, she was more powerful. Alice, using her powers, caught the students and locked them back in their cells. The animation ends with everyone scolding Mr. Demi because this was all his fault. And with it the animation ends and the only chapter of this universe. What do you think? If I forgot a detail, don't forget to comment and subscribe, it would help me a lot. I'm a techie and thanks for watching.